What is up, YouTube and acolytes? You guys know who I am. I'm the Theblazingdeity, and I host the channel where the hottest gaming and comic content is like religion. And welcome back to another comic book review slash summary. We're going to use the same format that we did in the last video, where instead of going page by page, we just give a complete overview of what's in this issue. We're jumping back into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is issue number 5, and we're going to be focusing on the current antagonist, Harmonious Hall, the mayor of New York City. Now, this book opens up with the scrambling of citizens because the Foot Clan slash Foot Patrol, the guard of Mayor Hall, are violently dispersing them from their protest, which leads him in direct contention with Casey Jones later in the issue. Now, one may wonder, why does the mayor have foot patrol? Why does he have Foot Clan guard? And it's because he is working directly with the Foot. But why? We find out that Hall is actually being blackmailed by the Foot Clan, and this is thanks to Karai. But we'll hop into that in just a second. A little background on Mayor Hall. All his life, from childhood up, he's been underappreciated, overlooked, and underestimated. And the only people who were really ever in his corner were his parents. But unfortunately, his parents met their demise at the hands of a random mutant, which everyone says was an accident. But of course, within Hall, this builds this prejudice, this disdain, this bigotry for mutants, which leads him to go on this campaign to be mayor and rid New York of mutants. We find him in a bar one day talking about how much he hates them, how much he hates the fact that they're getting rights, how much the fact that they're always getting, slapped on the wrist pretty much. And, Bebop and Rocksteady, two characters from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mythos that are very recognizable, overhear this. And before they take him to meet with Karai, they pretty much beat him up for all the prejudice and crap he was talking about mutants, them being some of the most recognizable mutants in the series. So his meeting with Karai, she pretty much tells them that they could work hand in hand together, and she really comes bringing him a gift, and it was the mutant who killed his parents. And she's allowing him this opportunity to seek his vengeance, to balance the scales to avenge his parents. And in the midst of him doing so, she stops him and says, okay, we got you on camera, so you're going to do what we say, or we're going to show the world that you're nothing but a bigot. So he agrees to work alongside the Foot Clan. We find out that later he still takes his revenge against this mutant, and we see the direct parallels between the way he lives his life and the way that the person who eventually confronts him, Casey Jones, lives his life. In fact, the reason that Casey Jones seeks out Mayor Hall is because of the Foot Guard who are hurting and abusing the citizens, and he takes it upon himself to take the fight to them. And that's always been something that Casey Jones does. Casey Jones has always been a hothead, a ask questions later, jump into the fray, kind of like Raphael, the red turtle brother. Now, when they come face to face, and he explains, I know foot training when I see it. There should be no reason that the mayor is working with the Foot Clan, right? There should be no reason. You're not going to make any changes, and you're pretty much just a figurehead for what the Foot really wants you to do. And Mayor Hall is like, you're not making any changes, to be honest, either. What, you're running around in this hockey mask, your bats, your hockey stick, and you're not really making a difference. And he gives him an opportunity to quote unquote defend himself. Kind of like Karai did when pitting him against the mutant who killed his parents. He puts a mace on the ground, and he sees if Casey can run to it so he can grab it and defend himself. And when he does it, he shoots him in cold blood. The parallels, though, that I want to talk about between Hall and Casey come with their upbringing. Casey Jones was a sidewalk fair kid on the streets whose father was killed by the Purple Dragons, who is a small gang faction that took orders from the Foot Clan. Harmonious was a young man who was always underappreciated and overlooked, whose parents were killed by a mutant. And it set both these characters down a path of wanting revenge, somehow wanting to balance the scales, where one took a bigoted approach and wants to just rid the city of a particular group of people, where one group of people is actually horrific, and Casey wants to bring their dishonor and bring their foul play to the light in hopes that he seeks actual justice. And linking up with the Turtles have given him a better appreciation on how to seek justice instead of running around and trying to bust open some heads. That's a direct quote from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2004. But I love how we're trying to stack every single odd against Team Turtles there is. We have Casey, who's now possibly mortally injured. We have the Turtle Brothers, who, even though they've reunited, probably don't have the same chemistry. And there's probably a lot of baggage that they have to work out. We have somebody with extreme amount of prejudice, who's being manipulated by somebody who actually knows the ins and outs of not just the Foot Clan, but the Turtle Brothers and their relationship in Karai. This has all the makings of being one of the best series of 2024 onward. I want to give this series, though, this particular issue, I want to give it a 7, only because I wish there was more Casey. I wish there was more Casey. And I wish there was a little bit more Bebop and Rocksteady. I got to give it a 7. I cannot wait for issue number 6. But let me know, have you guys been enjoying the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review? Are there other books and TV shows and comic books that you guys would like me to summarize or review? If so, leave them down in the comments. Also, let me know, are you a Casey Jones fan? I kind of like Casey Jones. I've always liked him because he was always like that, second Raph kind of character. I love his recklessness. It's always been cool to me. And if you could redesign Casey, how would you do it? Put that in the comments. I've always liked the hockey mask type ordeal, but I feel like we could do a little bit more with the modern day. What would you guys think? How would you guys remodel Casey Jones if he does need a remodelization? Like I said, this issue for me is a 7. I wish there was more Bebop and Rocksteady. I wish there was more Casey Jones. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for watching and listening in. And I'll make sure to get you guys with another comic book summary and review really soon.